Hi, so thanks for joining us for our class today. So today's class, we're going to just go through a series. It's really good if you're new to Pilates or if you've been suffering from low back pain. So we're going to keep it quite simple, but always go to whatever level suits you whenever we do any of the exercises. Okay, so we'll get started. So just to begin with, we're going to warm up in sitting. So either just sitting, just nice and even through those hip bones. You can have your legs crossed or legs out in front, whatever's more comfortable for you. Now ribs should be nice and soft, those collarbones sitting wide and that neck nice and long and lifted, so we really feel lengthened through that spine. So just to begin with, we're going to just start with a very gentle movement through our upper back. So we're going to bring our hands up into this kind of Cossack position. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, we're going to rotate round to one side, looking over to that shoulder. Breath in here. As you breathe out, coming back round to that centre. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, looking round, following with those arms. Breath in. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, opening round. Breath in here. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, rotating around the upper body and then coming back to that centre. Good. And again, opening round. Breath in. As you breathe out, back to that centre. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, rotating around. Breath in here. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Well done. One last one each side. Reaching around. Breath in. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Good. And again. And then back to that centre. And relaxing those arms back down. And just relaxing those shoulders. Well done. So we're just going to reach up, open up our chest and reach up towards the ceiling now. So we're going to bring our hands up to that shoulder height. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching those arms up and out. Breath in here. And then relax back to that shoulder height. And again, reaching out. Good. And then lowering back down. And again, reaching out. Good. And then lowering down. Well done. And again, opening out. Good. And then reaching down. Good. And again, reaching those arms. And then relaxing down. Lovely. One last time. Reaching away. And relaxing back down. Well done. Relaxing those shoulders. And relax those arms here. Very good. Okay, so we're going to come down onto our mat. So just slowly come down onto your backs from here. Now starting on our backs, we're going to have our feet and knees that hip width distance apart. So just make sure we're going to start in that neutral position. So we just tilt that pelvis forwards and back. So we sometimes talk about finding this diamond shape, just popping that onto your tummy. Dropping that diamond point forwards and then flattening that back. We're just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements. So that diamond sits sort of flat onto that tummy. And we're going to keep that position here throughout all of our exercises. That core should be just gently engaged. It's that 10-20%. Remember, not too big a lift. It should be just engaging just gently. Those ribs are soft, collarbones wide, and that neck nice and long and lifted from here. Good. So we're going to start with a hip twist movement. So it's quite a subtle movement. We want to keep those hip bones pointing up towards the ceiling throughout this movement. So imagine you've got those headlights on those hip bones. We don't want to roll or rotate. So we're going to let one knee just fall out to the side, just as far as you feel you can keep that control. Then use those thigh muscles to bring the knee back to that centre. And then we're going to alternate sides. So opposite knee dropping over, using those toe muscles to bring the knee back to that centre. Now keeping those hip bones pointing up to the ceiling. If you're feeling any rotation or movement, you're probably just going a little bit too far with that leg. So just make that movement a little bit smaller. Really focusing on keeping those hip bones, those headlights pointing up towards the ceiling. Good. So dropping the knee over, using the tummy, coming back to that centre. So just opening out each side, keeping that control as you're dropping the knees over and coming back to that centre. Good. And again, opening out and then coming back to that centre. Good. And then back up. Well done. Opening out, dropping the knees over, using the tummy, coming back to that centre. Very good. So just do last few here, keeping those ribs soft. That's it, those collarbones wide. Dropping the knees over, coming back to that centre. Make sure those hip bones still pointing up to the ceiling. That core's gently engaged as you're dropping the knee over and then coming back up. Well done. And again. And then back up. Lovely. We'll do one more each side, dropping the knee over, coming back to that centre. And same on the opposite leg. and then back to that center from here. Very good. And relaxing those arms down by your side. Okay, so we're going to move into our scissors movement from here. So we're going to float one leg up into a single tabletop position. So that knee is at 90-degree angle here. Now we're going to tap the foot down, come back up into that single tabletop, and then lower back down. We're going to alternate sides, so opposite leg lifted, keep that 90 degree of the angle of the knee, drop down, lift up, and lower. And again, opposite leg, tap down, back up, and lower. And again, opposite leg lifted, tap down, back up, and lower. So keep alternating sides here, tapping the foot down, lifting up, and lowering. That pelvis still staying in that neutral position. So as you're lowering that leg, make sure you're not letting that pelvis tilt or that back arch. You're keeping that neutral position as we're alternating sides here. So tapping down, back up, and lower. And again, lifting up, tap down, up, and lower. Good, so just keep going here, making sure that pelvis is staying in that nice neutral position. We're not losing that control as we're tapping that foot down. Good, so keep going here, tapping down, back up, and then lowering. Good. And lower. So really a movement that kind of reflects what we do walking. So getting a lot of hip flexion movement here. Quite a lot of control happening through that pelvis. It's just starting that basic movement, that control from here. Very good. Keeping that core engaged, tapping that foot down, back up, and lowering. Well done. Last few. And again, lifting up, tap down, back up, and lower. Lovely. And let's do one more each side here. So lifting up, tap down, back up, and lower. Opposite leg. And then lower that leg back down. Well done. Let's bring those knees in one at a time and have a nice little hug and just stretch out through that back. So just breathing in and out here. On that out breath if you can, just sink down into that stretch, just that little bit further if you can. Breath in and out. And just sinking down from here. Breath in again and out, just relaxing down into that lowest back stretch. Good, and then we're going to lower those legs back down one at a time. Well done. Back to that neutral position. So remember, if you need to use that diamond again, just to make sure you're finding that neutral position of that pelvis, that core is gently engaged, those arms relaxed down by your side. So we're going to float one leg up into that single tabletop position. We're going to do what we call a one leg stretch. So from here, we're going to lengthen that leg away to that opposite wall, then fold that leg back into tabletop and then lower back down. Opposite leg lifted, reaching away that leg, folding it back and then lowering. Now if you can, we're going to breathe out as we lengthen the leg away and breathe in to fold it back down. Good. Breathe out as we lengthen the leg away. Breathe in as we fold it back, if you can, but just make sure you're not holding your breath. Breathe in, breathe out as you reach the leg away, back and lower. Now making sure we're keeping this neutral pelvis as we lengthen that leg away. So we shouldn't be letting that back arch, that pelvis tilt. We're really keeping that neutral spine position as we lengthen the leg away. Well done. So lengthening through, back and lowering. Good. Keeping that control as we lengthen through each side. Well done. Reaching that leg away, folding it back and lowering. Breathing out as we lengthen the leg away. Breathe in as we fold back if you can, but just make sure you're not holding your breath. Breathe out to lengthen, breathe in to fold back. Good. And again, reaching away and then lowering back down. Good. Upper body staying nice and relaxed, no tension through there. Keeping this pelvis in this neutral position, not letting that back arch or that pelvis tilt. Very good. And again, reaching away, folding back and then lowering. Reaching away, folding back and then lowering. Good. And then lowering. Okay, let's do one more each side. Reaching away, folding back. Lovely. Last time. Reach that leg away, folding back and lowering back down. Very good, well done. Okay, so we're going to come into a bridge movement now. So feet and knees still like hip width distance apart, but you might want to just tuck those feet up a little bit closer to your bottom. Often get cramped doing this exercise. That's a good way to try and stop that. Pelvis still in that neutral position. Use that diamond again if you need to, just to find that midpoint. That core's gently engaged, those ribs are soft, collarbones wide, arms relaxed down by your side. Okay, so we're going to go into a bridge altogether. So we take a breath in here. As you breathe out, tuck that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly peeling that spine back down onto the mat. Good, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, use those bottom muscles to help lift you up into this bridge. Breath in here, and as you breathe out, we're going to walk that spine slowly down back onto the mat from here. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up into this bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly walking that spine back down onto the mat. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up into this bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly walking that spine back down onto the mat. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, use those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly peeling that spine back down. And then coming back down onto the mat. Well done, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, use those bottom muscles and lifting up into this bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly peeling back down onto the mat. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, use those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, walking that spine, just peeling one vertebra at a time, slowly down onto the mat. Sometimes describe it like a set of pearls. You're lifting those pearls one vertebra at a time up off the mat, and then you're peeling those pearls slowly back down. So sometimes that helps if you visualize that a little bit, just to really think about that segmental movement through the spine. Good, and slowly peeling back down. Lovely. Let's do last few here, tucking that pelvis under, using those thigh muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, peeling slowly back down onto the mat. Lovely, one more time. Tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles to help lift you up into this bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, peeling back down onto the mat. Very good. Coming back to that start. Lovely. Okay, so let's really stretch out and open out through those spines. So arms down by your side or out to the side of you. We're going to drop the knees over to one side. Turn your head to the opposite side if you can. Use those toe muscles to bring the knees back up to that centre. Then over to that opposite side if you can. Again, use those toe muscles coming back up to that centre. And then over to that opposite side. Good. So just opening out through that spine, looking to that opposite side if you can, and then coming back to that centre. Good. Dropping the knees over, just opening out through that spine. Use those toe muscles to come back up to that centre, then over to that opposite side again. Well done, and then back up. Dropping those knees over, turning your head to that opposite side, then coming back up to that centre. Well done. Do last few here, dropping those knees over, using those toe muscles, back up to that centre, over to that opposite side again. Well done. And then dropping those knees over, well done, back to that centre. Lovely, let's do one more each side, dropping those knees over, using the toe muscles, coming back up, then over to that opposite side. Well done, and then we're going to come back to that centre from here. Arms relaxed down by our sides. Okay, so we're going to come around onto our sides now, just to stretch our bottom muscles, or work our bottom muscles a little bit. So if you just use that thicker block, we're going to come down onto our side here, and just use the block, or if you've got a little towel at home, just support through your head. So feet and hips are roughly in that line, so those hips are really stacked on top of each other. Just drop this top waist down so you feel that underneath waist, just lift gently underneath you there. Imagine you've got a little grape, you don't want to squash it there. So we're going to keep our feet together, so heels together. We're going to lift up that top knee and then lower back down. Now make sure those hips don't roll back, keep them stacked. keep your hand on here a little bit if you want to, just to get a little bit of feedback from that. And we're lifting and lowering. So keeping those hips stacked, lift up that top knee and then lower back down. Good. So we're lifting and lowering from here, really feeling it in this back pocket side area. If you don't, sometimes you just need to bend or straighten your knees up a little bit more just to really get that working. So pick what's comfortable for you as we're lifting and lowering from here. Good. Just engaging those bottom muscles, keeping that control. Well done. Make sure you're not holding your breath, just breathing in and out. Keeping those hips stacked. Make sure you haven't squashed your grape. Keeping those waists lifted. Well done. Lifting and lowering from here. Well done. Lift up and lower. Good. Lifting and lowering. Well done. Last few. Keeping that control as you lift and lower. Well done. Lift up and lower. Good. Last couple here. And let's do one last one. Lifting and lowering. Well done. Give that muscle a rub. Have a little rest here. So we're going to keep our knees bent up. Just drop that block or your little pillow down onto the floor. And we're going to have our head at the front of it, our arms out in front. We're just going to go into an arm opening stretch from here. So we're going to lift up this top arm, opening up that chest, looking round and back, just as far as you feel comfortable. And slowly coming back to that centre. And again, lifting up that top arm, opening up that chest, looking round and back. And then coming back to that centre. And again, lifting up that top arm, opening up that chest, coming round and back. And then back to that centre. So just opening out through the chest, rotating through that upper back. Just a nice gentle stretch. Following that arm with your head on the block, so your head's just rolling, looking round and back. And then back to that centre. Good. And again, lifting up that arm, opening out through that chest. And then back to that centre. Well done. And again, lifting up, opening out through that chest. And then back to that centre. Good. And back round. Lovely. Last couple here. Reaching up and over, opening up. And then coming back down. Lovely. One last time. Lifting up that top arm, following it around with that head. Slowly coming back down. Very good. Okay, so we're going to come up and over in your own time onto the opposite side. So we can do the same again. So we bring that pillow or block, whatever you're using, with us. And we're going to come down. So just have that under your head, just to support it there, just so your neck is nice and long. Feet and hips are roughly in that line, so those hips are really stacked on top of each other. So remember, we're going to drop that top waist down, so you feel that underneath waist just lift slightly there. Imagine you've got a little grape or something underneath there you don't want to squash, so we're going to keep that waist lifted. So feet together, we're going to lift up that top knee and lower and back down. Make sure you don't let those hips roll back or rotate, keeping those hips stacked as you lift and lower through that top knee. Okay, well done. So lifting and lowering, keeping those hips stacked as you lift and lower through that top knee. Well done. And again, lift and lower. Make sure you're not letting those hips roll or rotate. Hand on that hip if you want to, just to get a little bit of feedback. Remember, we want to feel it in that back pocket side area. If you don't, sometimes you just need to bend or straighten those knees up a little bit just to get that right feeling into that muscle. So just adjust them slightly if you need to. So keeping those hips stacked as you lift and lower through that top knee. Well done. Breathing in and out, not holding your breath. Make sure you haven't squashed your grape. Keep those waists lifted. Well done. Lifting and lowering from here. Well done. Last few. Lifting and lowering. Good. Keeping that control as we lift and lower. Well done. Last couple here. Let's do one last one. And then lower that leg back down. Well done. Give those muscles a little rub. Bend those knees up. Okay, so we're going to stay here and just drop that block down onto the side. So your head's at the front of it, arms out in front. And we're going to go into our arm opening stretch as we did before. So we're going to lift up this top arm, opening out through that chest, looking round and back with that head, and then slowly coming back to that centre. And again, lifting up that top arm, opening out through that chest, looking round and back, and then back to that centre. Good, now bend the elbow slightly. You don't need to pull through your shoulder too much. If you're feeling any pulling, just bend the elbow a bit more. The arm doesn't need to be straight, so just opening out round and back. And lovely, coming back to that centre. So we're just opening out through that chest, rotating that upper spine, and just a little bit of rotation in that neck as well, as we're following with our head. Good. And then back to that centre. Well done. Opening out through that chest, and then back to that centre. Well done. And then slowly back round. Lovely. Good, let's just do last couple here. Opening out through that chest, looking round and back, and then back to that centre. Well done. One last time. Reaching around, back to the centre. Excellent, back to that start. Good. So we'll drop that block behind us and we're going to come around onto our backs just to really stretch out our legs from here. So we're just going to start with stretching our bottom muscles. So we're going to put one foot onto the opposite knee. Allow that leg just to relax open there. If that's enough of a stretch, then just stay there, okay? If you can, then we can bring the other leg up in towards you, just as far as you feel comfortable, and then holding this stretch here. So breathing in and out. On that out breath, if you can, just sinking down into that stretch, just that little bit further. Breathing in and out. And just on that out breath, just sink down into that stretch if you can. If you want to increase it a little bit more, just drop into that side you're holding slightly, just to increase that a little bit further. So we're breathing in and out here. On that out breath, just dropping down into that stretch, just that little bit further, and holding that here. Breathing in and out. Relaxing down into that stretch. Well done. No tension through the upper body. Keeping that nice and relaxed as you're just breathing in and out. Good, and then we're just lowering that leg back down. Do the same on the opposite side, so opposite foot onto the other knee. Allow that leg just to relax open there. Again, if that's enough of a stretch, just stay there. Or if you can, I'm going to bring the other leg up in towards you, just as far as you feel comfortable, and holding this stretch here. So again, breathing in and out. On that out breath, if you can, sinking down into that stretch just that little bit further. Relaxing down into the stretch here. So really feeling that into that bottom muscle. If you still can't feel it, just drop into that side you're holding slightly. Just increases that little bit further. And again, breathing in and out from here. Just relaxing down that little bit further. Well done. Good. And one more breath in and out here. And relaxing that leg down. Well done. So we're going to stretch out through our hamstrings now. So knee up to the ceiling. We're going to lengthen through the back of the leg. So those toes pointing up to the ceiling. You can just use our hands to support that leg. Just to feel that stretch through the back of the leg here. Good. So just breathing in and out. Relaxing down into that stretch if you can. Good. Lovely. So just lengthening through, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Good. And just make sure you don't overstretch this, particularly if you've had back pain and any leg symptoms. You don't want to overstretch that leg. Just gently stretching into a comfortable position. Well done. And then lowering that leg back down. We'll do last time on the other side. Knee up to the ceiling, going to lengthen through the leg, holding that stretch here, toes pointing up to the ceiling. And we're going to hold this stretch. So breathing in and out. On that out breath, just sinking down into that stretch if you can. Upper body nice and relaxed. Holding that stretch here. Well done. Well done. No tension through that upper body. Just lengthening through the back of the leg. So toes pointing up to the ceiling. You can use your hands just to support the leg there if you want to. But just no tension through that upper body if you're using these hands. Good. And let's just do one more gentle breath in and out. And then lowering that leg back down. Well done. So we're going to come back round and then up into sitting. And just to finish off from here. So just coming back round in sitting, either those legs crossed or legs out in front of you, whatever's comfortable. Relaxing those shoulders, that's it, good. So make sure our weight is going nice and evenly back through those sitting bones. That pelvis is still in neutral and that spine's nice and long and lifted. That chin's just tucked in. So we're going to float our hands up to that shoulder height and just finish as we started. Breath in, as you breathe out, reaching those arms up and out. and back in. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reach those arms up and out. And then slowly back down. And again, breath in. Reaching up and out. And then back down. Good. And again, reaching those arms up and out. And then slowly back down. Then we're just going to bring our hands together. And we're just going to drop that chin down to your chest. Turning those fingers away. Looking up to that hand. And then we're going to reach up together and open nice and wide. Lovely. And again, hands clasped, reaching up to that shoulder height. Drop that chin down, just stretching that neck slightly. Reach those fingers away. Arms up towards the ceiling. Look up with that head, opening out nice and wide. And again, hands clasped. Reaching those hands just to that shoulder height. Drop that chin down, just stretching through that neck. Turn those fingers away. And then look up to those hands and together up towards the ceiling and opening nice and wide. Lovely. One last time. Hands together. Hands up to that shoulder height. Drop that chin down to your chest. Reach those fingers away. Look up to those hands together, lifting up and then opening out nice and wide from there. And just relaxing those shoulders back down. Fantastic. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the class today and hopefully see you again next time to one of our classes.